So, number 4, the probabilistic approach. There is a big camp inside that camp, which is the Bayesian camp. I'm not going to go into Bayesian probability. Probably we'll make another room specifically about Bayesian probability. We will prove the formula, and then we will discuss how people are, in my opinion, overestimating its entailments or its meaning. It's a very basic result in probability. But what we will say now applies to Bayes and other systems of probability. So every time, what do I mean by probability? Every time we observe, we become a little bit more sure. We become surer of the result. So if I taste bread once, yeah, okay, I didn't die. That's fine. If I eat bread twice, this is good. This is fine. If I eat bread 10,000 times, I'm kind of sure now. I'm kind of sure that this is the go-to. That's what I'm gonna do. If I've been living 50 years on this planet, and every single day the sun rises, assuming that tomorrow there will be another sunrise, it's kind of sure now because I've seen it a lot. If I went fishing in a pond and I was successful every single time for 2 years now, today I'm gonna decide to go there as well. Like I have no reason to change. I'm a lot more sure. If someone asks me what's the best fishing spot, I'm gonna tell them about that part. Why not? Like I've observed it so many times. I'm pretty sure now what's gonna happen. This is the probabilistic approach. To answer this and to show the problems in it, we will explain something very quick in logic on slide 12. And again, I suggest that if you want to follow, you click on the link pinned on the top of the room so you can see what I'm writing. So slide 12, we will explain something that is called implication. Implication in logic, the relation P implies Q. What does it mean when I say P implies Q? An example, if I become president, then I will build a wall. This is an implication relation. Becoming president implies a wall will be built. Now, how do we understand this statement? If I become president and I build a wall, did I lie? No. The condition was true. The conclusion was true. And so I did not lie, and it happened. So if the first part, we're going to call it P. P for, why am I not writing here? Okay. If this is P, and this is W for wall, if P is true and W is true, then P implies W is true. If you elect me as president and I manage to build a wall, then I have said the truth. I did not lie. Now, if I become president, if you elect me, and I did not build a wall, I'm lying. I am not being faithful. So if the condition is true, but the conclusion is false, then I have lied. The whole thing falls apart. I have made a promise that I cannot keep. Now, question for you. What happens when I'm not elected as president? So the condition is false.
And we don't know.
You get
So
the Kanye response of, I guess we'll never know.
Oh, we know. We can know here. Because if you don't elect me president, whether there's a wall or not is irrelevant to the truth of what I said. I said, if you elect me president, I'm going to build a wall, or I'm going to lower the taxes, or whatever. And then you haven't elected me president. Can you come to me and say, oh, you lied? Sorry, not to use that. You have said something false?
You can't
No.
you can't hold them accountable.
Hold them accountable when they're not elected?
Yeah, that's correct.
I thought you were asking, will a wall be built? And I was saying, you can't tell.
That's another question. If someone else could build the wall, it's totally irrelevant here. The only thing is the truth of the following statement: if I become president, then I will build a wall. When is it considered false, this statement? When I'm not elected, can you come to me and tell me you haven't built a wall, you're a bad man? I'm not elected. You haven't done my condition. If you give me $1 million, if you help me win $1 million, I'll give you half. Well, you didn't help me. So can you come to me and say, I want my half? No. Whether I want the $1 million or not is a totally irrelevant issue. I said, if you help me, right? So the only way this implication is false is if the condition is true and the conclusion is false. That's the only way you can hold me accountable, quote unquote. You can say, oh, this is false. This wasn't a true statement. It's true every time else. When the condition is false, absolutely. Whatever happens is still within the boundaries. So if you flip to slide 13, I have copied the truth table over here for P implies W. And we will now check the other statement. Another statement is if a wall was never built, then I did not become president. So if I had P implies W, I have now not W implying not P. And we're going to check whether this is true or false, or when we're going to investigate. By the way, those tables we are doing here, they are called truth tables. Okay. So if you follow me with the writing here, not W, when is it true? It's the opposite of W. So whenever I see T, I'm going to write F. Whenever I see F, I'm going to write T. So I'm looking over here. Okay, this is F, I put T. This is T here, I'm going to put F. This is F, I'm going to put T. It's always the opposite. The negation of P, opposite to P, F, F, T, T. Now, we remember what we just learned about implication. If the condition, which is in this case negation of W, if the condition is false, then the whole premise is true no matter what. So I'm going to put the T on the first section here. If the condition is true and the implication is false, the conclusion is false, then I have lied, quote unquote. So that's false. If the condition is false, as we said, I'm looking at the third line, the whole thing is false. The whole thing is true. And if it's true, then it's true again. I'm only looking at the last three columns now. Okay. Now, we just filled it because this is how it works. I'm just following the rules here. And if you look at the last column that I'm encircling right now, and if you look at the third one that I'm also encircling, you will see that they are exactly the same thing. Whenever P implies W is true, not W implying not P is also true. And whenever it is false, the other one is also false. Which is why we say they are completely equivalent. They are the same. Saying, if it rains, then the streets are wet, is exactly the same thing as saying, if I see that the streets are not wet, it has not rained for sure. Those are exactly the same statements. If it has rained, then the streets are wet. If the streets are not wet, then it cannot have rained. No way. P implies W, not W implies not P. They are the same exact thing. Any issues with this? Any questions? I know this is kind of whenever we do funny signs and logic, people kind of get confused. Hopefully, the example I chose is simple enough. If you have anything, just let me know. I'm happy to repeat.
I think the thing that makes me the most uncomfortable is just kind of keeping straight that we're just talking about logical propositions and not lies, really. I mean, the point is, and this particular example is problematic because it's an if something happens, I will do in the future this thing. Is that true or not? It's not really a matter of truth. You're really saying that as a proposition, right? If I'm elected president, I will build a wall. And you just accept that. And then all of your decisions about truth tables, et cetera, is based on, analyzing those things. Is the statement true or false? And so especially when you start talking about the other way around, if a wall was not built, I did not become president. I'm thinking, it's once again, it's just because of that future thing. I'm thinking, well, maybe you just lied. If a wall was not built, what do you mean I did not become president? Maybe you just lied. But we really need to exclude the lying thing and accept the premise, which is that, if you become president, you will build a wall.
What this example or any other example is attempting to show is not the intention of the person. I don't know what their intentions are. This is not probably, it's confusing because it's a politician and I tried to make a joke and it didn't work.
I think the rain example is just better because
Okay.
then it's in the past. You can really, it's not a matter of whether somebody's lying. You don't have to fold that into your considerations.
But this is not the problem, John. I can always take it to the future. If the streets, if it has rained, then the streets will be wet. If the streets are wet tomorrow, can you conclude that it has rained? No, not necessarily. But if they are not wet tomorrow, you can conclude that it hasn't rained, neither tomorrow nor today. Nor, you can take it into, let's say, a year from now. If a year from now the streets are not wet, I know for sure that it hasn't rained. You know what I mean?
You're right. It's just the injection of a person making a promise. That's what makes it difficult.
If that person was never elected
like
president, then I cannot say anything to them. That's my point. They have made a statement. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna quickly clarify. We're not talking about mental state of a person making a statement. We're talking about the statement itself, just its syntax and its semantics. That's it.
That's my intention anyway. So if you like the raining and the streets better, go for it. But it's the same exact thing, I promise you. So now that we've established this rule, we're going to give it a name on slide 14. And this will be what logicians call modus tollens. Modus tollens. Whenever I have P implies Q, and I have that the conclusion is negated, I can immediately entail, you can see the entailment relation here. I can immediately entail that the condition was false. This is allowed. We've seen modus ponens before. Whenever you have the implication and the conclusion is happening, then you will find that the conclusion happens. If true, then true. This is the last row on slide 14. No, here if I have that Q did not happen, so the conclusion did not happen, then I can conclude that P did not happen. If the whole statement is true, we are taking the whole implication as true here. So those two propositions are equivalent. Why am I making a big fuss about this? I'm making a big fuss